Hey everybody, we are live guys. So I've been making notes all week and I'm really gonna like this. Excuse me for being late. I had to go do some morning business and I don't mean sex. I just drove a friend last night. She was not able to fly into Houston, her hometown, and she was coming from Sedona. She was doing a find yourself retreat, meditation in the woods sort of thing. And let me make sure that I'm in the woods sort of thing. Yeah. So let's see. So she was doing this retreat and these flights were getting canceled and everything, and she didn't know how she was going to get back to hey Finn Bear, how's it going? Are you going to join? Just got in. All right, cool. So she didn't know how she's going to get back to her hometown, that she flew out to go to this thing. And she told me about times up on the hill where they had crystal balls and they were putting their intention into the universe and doing meditation type things with the crystal ball, helping with the vibration. So that started on Wednesday. Today is Tuesday. And so yesterday, just afternoon, she gives me a call up and she says, hey, so the hurricane stuff is causing none of these flights to go to Houston. I'm wondering if I can get to Austin. Will you pick me up? Can I stay at your house? So my friend is a college buddy of mine. We went to architecture school together. She stayed at Texas Tech longer than I. She's a younger classman. She stayed longer, got a master's. I've only got my bachelor's. Tons of respect for that. Then after that, she goes out in the workforce and starts getting interested in medicine. So then she goes into a medical career. And I think she had another career after that. Oh, it's the holistic medical side. So now she's doing prenatal yoga. So like yoga for pregnant women, even though she's never experienced that. She gets a lot of feedback from her clients. One day she was a substitute yoga teacher and she liked it. I'm not even hearing myself because I don't have it plugged in. I knew something was weird. Finbear, you would tell me if you couldn't hear me, right? Okay. Whoa, I was talking too loud, wasn't I? Oh, this mic is awesome. So yeah, she got over to Austin from Dallas. So Sedona, Dallas, Austin. I picked her up in Austin. And then once she got in my car, I was just like, hey, real fast, like let's halt the conversation of catching up. I'm able to drive you right now. We're already on the southeast side of Austin. I'm able to drive you down to Houston right now. Like I can be your freaking taxi because I'm a Hexican. What else I got to do but be a Hexican? Thank you, Finbear. Finbear just confirmed that my audio is 505. It's awesome. And so we drove to Houston, and by the time we got there, I was like, "Hey, I'm not staying the night. I'm turning around. And I'm going right back. I got coffee with me. I got snacks. I got everything." And so then I took off, and my butt started hurting inside my chair. About 2/3 or maybe half the way back to Austin, but whatever the case, I drove right past the airport that I picked her up at, and then on up to my hometown. Because my hometown, it's already an hour from the airport. The airport is outside of Austin on the southeast side. That's where the Formula One track is. If you ever come to Austin, that is also the area where all the farms are down there in the southeast area, because that's where the Colorado River leads to once it passed through Austin. So it comes out of HexRay. You ready to come on? Awesome. Welcome, welcome.
Hey, kids.
So real fast, let me finish this story. So there in the Austin area, that's the hill country of Texas. And so the hill country is kind of like parallel to our coastline, our third coast down here, the Gulf Coast. And so the rivers come out of the hill country, but also in the hill country, the water soaks in, gets into the land formation that is like limestone there on the surface. It goes in, it gets filtered out by all the aggregate, and then they pop up in spring format there right at the edge of where the hill country meets the farmland. And that's where Austin is placed. That's where my town is placed. That's where San Antonio is placed. That's where New Braunfels is placed. San Marcos, that's Texas State, or used to be Southwest Texas. Now it's Texas State. Texas is booming. So one of those areas is New Braunfels. That's one of the original German colonies in the mid 1800s, right before the Civil War. I don't know too much about it. I just watched YouTube recently, so I'm a YouTube expert. What's going on, HexRay?
Just living life, just trying to onboard the entire world into Hex.
Me too. I'm sending random messages to people, and they're like, "Hey, bro, is this really you?" It's like, yeah, man, look at the intellectual things I said in that, not the sales pitch people, things I said in that.
Right. I've been having house parties and house meetings like I'm selling Avon or Amway, just because people will be like, "Hey, can you come over and explain this to me?" I'm like, "Sure." And they're like, "Can I invite friends?" I'm like, "Please, bring everyone. I'll answer all their questions."
That is so cool. How do you start it out?
I just let them ask questions, because it's always the same questions.
No, I'm not saying like the session. How do you start out, like establishing the, like, hey, I'm into this. Have you ever heard of it? Or would you buy Bitcoin at $1?
Well, people talk about their jobs all the time.
Oh yeah.
Right. And so, or they can talk about what's going on at their jobs. And so they're like, "What do you do?" And I'm like, "Well, I'm a professional onboarder. That's what I do. I turn people into multimillionaires. Yeah. I help them get enough money that they don't have to think about money. I mean, they have to think about what to do with it when they get it, right? They have those money problems, but they don't have the old money problems.
Right.
So I tell everyone, I think working should be optional for everybody. If you like your job, if you love your job or what you do, great, keep doing it. If you hate it, find something that you want to do. But most people can't make that transition, like I was saying in the last one. They're living paycheck to paycheck, and the cost of everything's going up, and there's just not enough time in a regular person's life, especially if they've got, friends or wives or kids. They don't got time to go pick up a whole new career on the side or run a small business on the side. So I would just like to help as many people as possible.
Yeah, that's my strategy. Right now I'm going after people that I have rapport with still. The other day I've been blessed. I'm the 4th generation in my town. And we have property in the downtown area. And a while back, I claimed one of these spaces inside of a building that my parents have. And it's a 1920s historic building with the brick exterior and the tin roof up top, or the tin ceiling. And so I'm slowly renovating this thing and trying to, and every time I get the chance, I do sketches of what it could be. And I always have this problem of like it being a small space and me wanting to divide it up. And there's always issues once you start dividing it up. And like really the issue is that there needs to be bathrooms, and those bathrooms have to go somewhere, and it just divides up everything. So I keep playing this mental screw around game with myself. Every time I get coffee, I get new ideas, and I just have to put them down on paper. But one of the ideas that I had for the name of the place could just be like Retire Fast. You know, we don't need to say like, oh, this is the Hex Hotel, or this is Hex Management, or this is Get Rich on Hex, or Follow Richard, or anything like that. We don't even have to have it to where it's like one of our crypto memes, like the I don't know, like the Chad Club, you know, crypto meme. But yeah, like if we just got to if we took our minds out of the bubble that we're inside of and look at things a little bit more broadly, like maybe we could call it, you know, something like Retire Fast, or the Retirement Club. Like what if you had what if you had something that was like, you know, like American Airlines club, where they had the lounge upstairs and only people with their special frequent flyer card can get into it. You know, that's where they have like the awesome space to wait out for your next flight. You know, like what if you made it sort of this exclusive situation? Anyway, I just have so many brainstorming. Like I don't want to be another person that offers alcohol to people and just be like, yeah, you know, don't you like the setting and the environment? Instead, like I want to make people download things into their head. I mean, that's what we're doing here on Hex Foodies, is we're discussing things that that are on the edge of society, and it's toward better living, back to the land, into the environment, and understanding what we live within, this natural systems that we live within, that have been ignored quite a bit. What you got along those lines? You want to change the topic?
No, I think that the thread that runs through Hex Foodies, Hex, voluntarism, all these things, it's freedom. So you take the freedom thread and you run it through all these communities that are searching and trying to cultivate freedom in one area of their life. And you say, look over here, this might help you with your freedom. Because once you get freedom in one area of your life, you start noticing the lack of freedom in other areas of your life. So I think that's the whole point of Hex and our community and Hex Foodies is freedom, you know?
Yeah, definitely. I always like to tell people that I've been studying to be an alchemist. I want to be able to create a lot of things just right here, right in front of me. I got a note here that I wanted to ask Finbear if he likes The Truman Show, the movie, because it's like I had to revisit it. I watched it in the background on a separate tab while I was doing some stuff earlier this week, and I love putting my mind in this this space of like, if it was that everything was foreign to you, like would you actually be able to push through that? And that's what we Hexicans have done. Similarly to what Jim Carrey did in The Truman Show, that movie. But it was so interesting how he just kept meeting the wall, and then he just went crazy meeting the wall, just kept meeting the walls, and then breaks through a little bit, and then he's like, you know, there's more out there. Like isn't that just a coincidence? Isn't that just a coincidence? And, you know, I think about world governance in this way, you know. Hey, Finbear, you ever watch The Truman Show? Are you a fan of that? I should have asked you once you got on stream. He says he's freshening up. He'll join us soon. Hey, HexRay. I went and I watched those videos that are made by the OSR people, the Mormons in the desert valley over there in Utah.
Yeah.
That we visited. And what does OSR stand for again?
Oh, I think SR is self-reliance, so I think it's like the organization of self-reliance, or the I can look it up right now actually, but
So
I'm actually trying to upload all those videos just to an editor right now so we can finally publish that video on the OSR.
Okay. So I went and visited, let's see. They've been sending me emails.
Okay, so the O is Operation Self-Reliance. Welcome to Operation Self-Reliance, OSR.
Dun dun dun. These people have organization and determination. So they've been sending me emails asking me, you know, like now I'm on their email list, so I get all the little updates and stuff, and I really appreciate it. So in these emails, they have YouTube videos every once in a while, and so I followed the link over to their YouTube page, and I looked at all of their videos, and they have a video from whenever we were there. They shot a video whenever we were touring. So guess who's in the video?
Who's that?
Rogue Herbalist. Rogue Herbalist is in their video.
That's awesome, right?
Yeah.
He's a good face for the cause.
Yeah. He's all bearded and he's got his hat on. Yeah. Sunglasses, you can't see anything.
That's awesome.
Right?
And maybe our video will be worthy of adding to their like linking or sharing on theirs, because I think it should come off very fair and positive, you know, because my whole idea of this video series is let's present these communities as accurately as possible. And then if that's your flavor, if that's what you like, then you should look into it further.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely.
You know,
did you see in our Telegram group, by the way, we're on Hex Foodies Telegram, Hex Foodies YouTube, Hex Foodies Facebook. And so like come to the Telegram group, participate. We got a lot of resources that we've already been posting, all sorts of information. We've been going strong for, I'm not sure how long, but this is probably our 6th or 7th live stream now. So emptyplain inside of our Telegram group, he posted a, hey, if you're interested in getting a high-paying job and get out of the city, give him a holler, give him a DM, a direct message. And I said back to him, like, hey man, just can you give us an insight? Can you share like what ideas you were talking about as far as these jobs that are a healthy balance? Oh gosh, I'm late. Yeah, I want Hex Dragon to join. Yes. Dragon just said in the Telegram group he was late, and Finbear is going to join us in 5 minutes.
I'm just going to try not to fanboy out. I'm a big fan of Hex Dragon. So if I start breathing heavy or crying, then you can cut me from the stream.
I'll hover the mouse right over the top of you, or just like delete your mic and we'll just all laugh at you.
Yeah. Either one works.
Okay, so emptyplain, he put out this thing. He didn't answer my question because I want a little bit of insight of what he's talking about. But a really funny thing about emptyplain is I'm tracking all the people that I gifted Hex to that passed through the Wheaton Labs, and I'm tracking it. I'm tracking all of their addresses on the Staker app, and so like I'm not like watching them, but I am. I did put all their addresses in there just so that I could see like how much of an influence I have on Hex in that environment, and so I checked the app the other day, like after we had gotten up to like 45 cents Hex price, and that thing just went boom. And I was like, what's going on? Like somebody must have added some money or something. And sure enough, emptyplain got even further into Hex. And he totally destroyed my chart. So now I have to think about like, well, do I delete him off of the addresses that Staker app lists, or should I just keep him in there and be like, hey, that little line there, you know?
Do you keep a separate account or a separate phone for Staker app to watch yours versus the people you've onboarded? Because that's brilliant.
I told you last time I don't watch my Staker. I don't watch my personal funds. And I also told you last time that I reached a certain point of like, oh, worries are off, and now I need to tell my sister in order to plan for intergenerational wealth. But actually, I was wrong. I was just below that marker at like 49 cents. And so then we were going through a healthy correction and everything. And so I've got a little bit to wait for that. Hex Dragon, are you ready to come on? I think so. Howdy, Hex Dragon. I'm gonna put you at the top. I'm the one who's gonna have to deal with the comments whenever I put them on. Deal with this comment. Hey guys, how's it going? Hey Hex Dragon, what's been going on in your area?
Dude, oh my gosh. So I got COVID and I gave all my friends COVID and it's been great.
That's not a good start. I was going to ask you how the Tantra workshop went, and apparently now we know.
Well,
it went well if everyone got
yeah,
COVID.
right. So we don't have to talk long about that, but we had a great party. And two of my friends went to a different party before they got COVID. One was vaccinated, one wasn't vaccinated. And then I got COVID from them. I went and worked on a farm a couple of days later, and I got like heat exhaustion. I'm like, oh, I have heat exhaustion. And I just felt like crap. And so I went to my other friend's place to recover, coughing, everything, kissed my partner, and then I took a COVID test the next morning and it turned out positive. And then like over the next few days, it was just fallout. Like everybody who I was in contact with got sick. So highly contagious. Yeah, so no fun there. And then I also found out I have black mold poisoning from the apartment that we moved into. So yeah, it's been health issues galore.
So that apartment right there?
Yeah.
Black mold, yeah. That stuff scares me, man. Whenever I lived in Houston, I was like always fearful of like what's in that wall. You had water leaks, so there might be something in there.
Yeah. Apparently it's way more common than I thought, and they just did an incomplete repair job on something where they left some wood exposed, and then water got on it. So then we got black mold, and it was really weird. My roommate and I took different tests. I actually did a combo, and I turned like green, like I was full of poison. And she did this like biometric test or whatever that came up positive for black mold also. So I mean, like searched the house and just found a bunch of it.
Wow. That's so interesting.
Statistically, finding a guy your age who hasn't been exposed to mildew is pretty rare because it's all over. So, like, you could have easily said, "It looks like you've had potatoes for lunch." Like, as a guess, it's a certain thing that like I went to this vibration lady once on like because I did insurance and and even loonies need to run a business over here. So she needed like insurance stuff looked into. And what she did was she did these weird water. She had a droplet, like a bottle that she vibrated with this gizmo that she bought from Germany for thousands of euros. And she did this test on me. And she said, "Yeah, looks like you've been exposed to mildew." And I'm like, "Yeah, I'm in my mid-30s. You can bet your sweet ass. Like, I've gone through our education system. I've been in the military. You can bet your sweet ass I've spent some time in rotting buildings."
Yep.
How's everybody doing? I'm terribly sorry I'm late. This is the first time I've sat down the whole day. I started work practice in this cabinet place. There's like 7 guys working there. They're quite sort of, how would you say? They're sort of almost like artisan in the way they work. Everything is bespoke and it's very nice. I've been just treating doors the whole day, just like sanding and oiling and polishing doors. I love it, man. Like, I didn't even think of going for a cigarette before like afternoon.
So
the day just went like whoosh.
I'm confused. Maybe it's a language barrier. Are you doing stuff for schooling? Are you doing stuff
Yeah.
for tradesmen? What's going on?
Yeah. I'm like I'm in what you would probably I think you'd call it trade school or
Trade school.
yeah. So I
Cool.
sort of did that high school thing and dropped out and opened a tattoo shop when I was 18, 19. I opened a tattoo shop over here, and I did that for 11 years before I thought about like doing something else. I got into sales, and funny enough, like with 11 years of practice doing tattoos, you become really good at selling life insurance. So I did that for like 10 years. I fucking kicked ass. I was like Kareem, but with almost dead people. I was like I wasn't like in the top 3
You're
of
like
the company.
Kareem, but with almost dead people.
Yeah. Well, like if you're selling insurance, like basically death is sort of behind your coattails. I don't know. It's probably my tattoos and stuff gave them like a reminder. But I've never like covered up my tattoos. When I went to see any potential clients, and I've noticed that to be a positive thing. I've not ever like tried to hide anything with a tie or like pull my sleeves down to cover something. I've just had it out in the open, and I suppose I'm the type of a guy that I just can't not say a good joke if I come up with one. So yeah, I've got into some delicious situations because of that. Like this one time, it happened pretty close to here, so I don't want to dox anybody. So I have to be pretty careful about what I say, so that I don't by mistake break any laws. I went to see this lady who was a potential customer. I just knew her name, the address, I called her. I booked the appointment, so I knew what time I was supposed to meet her. And I drive up to the place, and like her husband opens the door, and he's like super nice. We check out their new house. He and his father-in-law had built it, and he was like visibly proud over like his sort of handymanship, because it was a sweet ass house. And I sit down and I look at the lady, and I'm like, man, I know that woman from somewhere. And I for the life of me, I can't remember where I know her. We go through all the motions of like me winning them over from like a competing company, and I do a kick-ass job, and they get like a perfect insurance for what they need. And we're drinking coffee, and I'm like, I'm sorry, like I say to the missus, I'm like, I'm sorry, man, but I have to ask, like, where do I know you from? And she was like, oh man, I knew it was you. Like, I was thinking that, I wonder if you remember me. And it turns out that I had done like a big tattoo, like on top of her ass.
Oh,
Like back in the day, like when I was like just young and handsome.
that makes sense because you would.
Yeah, and I was like, yeah, I, I was gonna say that because she was like, I was wondering if you recognized me, and I was like, yeah, not with your clothes on. And the guy's like, what the fuck did you say? I'm like, no, man, I've seen her naked before, and I'm choking on my coffee trying to explain, and the lady's all like red in the face, like, that's not it, man. He did the thing. And then the guy's like sort of settling down a bit, and he's like, oh man, you were just about like, you were this close to getting beat up.
Right.
like, yeah, I almost recognized you, but not with your clothes on.
That was
That's
like
not something
yesterday.
you want. Yeah, that's not something you wanna.
How did
I
the
don't know.
tattoo
You don't want to
age?
open with it.
Right,
Sorry?
right. How did the tattoo age? Did
I
you get an
didn't get to
update on
see.
how well?
No, it was really close to all the good areas, so I didn't.
Could you have taken
Didn't
them?
even want.
Could you
Could
have
I
taken them?
have like a beating? I don't know. I probably would have just tried to run out, because
Yeah.
it's not really good for business if I even get into a wrestling contest with the potential customer, like, and looking like I do, it would be like headline news. Like, there's some really disgusting pictures of me when I was younger. they would have surfaced like, whoop. I shouldn't have probably said that out loud. Not that I think about it. Well, there's only 5 of us like watching the video, so I guess we're fine.
And all the future YouTube. Prepare to go viral.
Yeah, well, yeah. Well, you have to leave some nuggets in these older videos. I suspect people will come and we'll have 1,000 subscribers by episode 1,000. But no, yeah, but we won't have many viewers on the earlier episodes because of my ramblings and what have you. So we need to leave some kind of like gold nuggets in here for people to find.
I feel like we'll die off at like 5,555. You know.
Yeah,
That.
yeah, just start to dwindle down.
But if you do the math,
I've ran.
so many years.
I was just about to say I've ran some numbers with the hexcalc.net site, and it's not going to be 5,000.
5,000 weeks is what we're talking about.
Yeah, no, it's going to be way less. Like, yeah, like try to see like what 10,000 hex stake is in 5 years, if it's like $200 per hex, and you'll see what I mean. It gets really crazy really fast, and like $200 is nothing in crypto.
So Yeah,
So we might teeter off in viewer count, but if you count land mass, we'll probably expand more than ever. Like just the Hex foodies, we're probably gonna have quite a few acres to our names.
Did you see Richard Hart's Twitter where he said like basically he got 2,000 followers in a day?
Oh, when was this?
I don't know. It's just the recent Twitter.
I'm not on Twitter, but yeah, that's pretty good news.
There was a table laid out.
Yeah.
For like how many followers gained that he's had, and like down at the bottom it was 2,000, and I think it was in a day. I don't think it was a week.
Yeah, those are already getting to be pretty sweet numbers.
I mean, more and more people are asking.
Yeah, and I've been looking at the Staker app, like just comparing stakes closed by number versus new stakes, just by like how many there are. And then if you compare the amount of dollars that people end stake versus the amount that people stake, there's just so much more money going in. And like, looks like everything is just rolling out. Hardly anybody is taking Lambo monies anymore.
I did a video yesterday for my Hex Futures channel, and it's just me sharing my thoughts with the camera. And my thoughts were like, everybody's asking me, is it too late to get into Hex? Should I be buying and stuff like that? And then I'm just like, hey man, you should have been in Hex already. And yeah, just keep getting into Hex. And then the price does a correction. And those people, I haven't kept up with them. Like maybe they were slow to get more money in. So like maybe they actually did buy the dip instead of buying the top. But it
hardly ever happens.
I just think that it's a great thing for them. Similarly, we've talked about similar things, Hex Dragon, where it's just like buy the top so that you can say that you did it, and then once it passes, and everything's great. So that's I like it when people experience that level of gut check, because then it makes it to where whenever they make their own Hex stakes wealth, then they're so much more adequate in their comfort level with their tummy later on, so they won't emergency in stake or something like that, you know.
Yeah, I think it's super important to have people understand that this is like something you're holding, and to experience right away that crash and be like, this is part of what the game is, and to go through that right away instead of getting on and it's going up and up and you're like feeling so good, and then it goes down and you're like, what do I do? It's like, no, like just
yeah, you don't have to do anything. Yeah, this is where you just lean back and look out the window and see if the scenery is changing. If it's not changing yet, you just wait a bit longer.
Yeah, I have a friend that I'm slowly getting into it, and she's kind of like really slow to adopt. I got her started at 18 cents. She put in like 50K, and then she's been adding like 50K a week, and then she just added like 150K, and at like 45 cents, and we went down to like 35, and I was just like,
yeah. But what are you gonna do? Yeah, tshare go up really fast, and like if you wait for like a dip, what might happen is tshare might go up more in Hex terms. So even if you caught the dip and you got like cheaper Hex, you're gonna end up spending more Hex to get the same tshare that you would have had if you just bought in like when you were supposed to.
It's so hard to buy the dip. Like I tried buying a 15-cent dip when we were at 18 cents, and I ended up buying it at 28 cents because it never came. Like it was like I'm like, shit, like we're never gonna see 20 cents sub 20 again. I'm like, and I bit the bullet at 28, and then we went up to 45, and
buying dips is really difficult, and if
it's just bad practice.
If you imagine yourself like doing your first Hex purchase, buying the dip like perfectly or something, it's very unlikely. And if the price goes down like 50-60%, and you've never held it, are you seriously gonna say that you're gonna go and buy exactly at that time? No, you're like everybody else. You're gonna wait because it's probably gonna drop some more, and that's when the price goes and leaves you behind.
You
Oh,
know,
sorry, I think my dog saw Hillary Clinton outside.
I
You
love
better open the door and let him drive out. Go out. Go ahead.
from like January through I think like April was just like that was like a great period for me because hex was low. I knew we were going to like just have this big jump, but I didn't know when. I just kept buying like every other week. I was buying and buying and buying. I was loving the 1 to 2 cents. I'm like, this is just so amazing.
Yeah.
We have, like, this long period. I got a lot of people in during that time, and I was trying to get more, and they're like, but the price isn't moving that much. I'm like, just keep buying, guys. Just trust me. And then we're like, and now like once May hit, it was just like,
Yeah.
and
Yeah, and those guys aren't worried about going from 49 to even 30. They're up so handsomely. They'll just laugh and watch the candles go red.
yeah.
Yeah, that's
Guys,
fine.
I have this idea. It's absolutely random. Maybe we could get like construction hats and paint them with hex colors because we're like reconstructing the way that society
Oh
is.
man, yeah, that's cool.
Yeah.
We should get these. We had these. It was this tractor company that had these classic hats that had just a short plastic, like a small like a visor up here. It's ugly as hell, but every farmer used to have one because they got them for free every time they looked at the tractor in front of the shop. They gave them a hat, so everybody had one. It was orange and really nasty, but it has that sort of 80s vibe to it, maybe.
Do y'all have Kubota tractors up there? Kubota?
Yeah. Oh yeah, the old
Yeah.
ones. Yeah, classics and old Fords, like some really old, like these, just above the ground, just like a motor with a huge flywheel, and it would be used to just run everything. Like you could run a sawmill on the same engine, or you could put it into turn it into like have it grind millstones or chop wood or whatever.
Yeah, because our old versions of cars used to have it to where you could connect a rotary something or other into the front of it and use it for
Yeah.
different purposes.
Yeah. You could just have it, just
And have the gasoline
sort of
engine or
like
the diesel engine
just
work.
drain the energy from the other end of the axle. Yeah.
Yeah, if people don't know what I'm talking about, look up old cars. There in the front where you would crank it, I believe once it started getting going, then you could have an output of a different sort.
Yeah.
So
it would seem like that would be doable.
I wonder if I could present this as a topic. What existing organizations should we be onboarding? What about those who have been treated with disrespect in each of the countries by governments? Native Americans on their own lands, opposers to wars, back to the landers, that are always thought as having tinfoil hats. Should we become the new age advisors? What if the responsible people of the past need to be the responsible people of the future? So I guess what I'm asking with this thought is like, should we be looking in our past at good, responsible type people and rewarding them now by getting them into Hex, or is there no point in looking at the past? Lately, what I've been doing is I've been really interested in the lands that the railroads go through, and those railroads picked up the farm production. And so like maybe it's the farm areas along the railroads that are most adequate climate-wise of yesterday and in the future. What do you guys think about these things?
I love it. Like, I am all for correcting the wrongs of the past. Some people don't think that it's our responsibility, but I feel that it absolutely is. If you're in a position where you can do something good in the world, that's what your calling is to do. And something like Hex, just looking at the impact that's had on my friends who I've gotten in the level of financial freedom, that not so much financial freedom even is the freedom of thought that you have when you're no longer forced to work a job you don't like. And instead you can become an entrepreneur and do or live your passion. And a lot of these marginalized groups are social activists. And if they didn't have to rely on the dollar so heavily, they could do much more good in the world. So I think it's brilliant to get all the disenfranchised groups on this as soon as possible, because we're going to go viral. So if we can get them in early, they're going to have an opportunity to correct, almost like appropriations, but it's through themselves. So instead of it coming from somebody else as a handout, it's empowering them to have control over their financial future and getting in early on something. I also think that farmers need this. All indigenous people, I think people who are community leaders really need it, because you need to have funding in communities to be successful. So any of these groups that are conscious, that are wanting to do environmental work, or any kind of social rights movements and stuff, I mean, all of those people would benefit so much from Hex. Richard said about, I'll close with this, is that if the world operated on Hex, it would likely create world peace, because unlike now, when we go to war, they print money to pay for the war and then debt the citizens. But if we're operating from a cash positive only scenario where you can't print unlimited Hex, you have to earn it through staking or through taxation, you're going to have to enroll your citizens into wars. And we already know that governments are struggling to even enlist people into the military, because we're globally connected. And I don't want to go to war with Finland or any other country. I have friends in like almost every country in the world, and they're all good people. There's nobody who I can think of who deserves to have a missile dropped on them. And that's becoming the norm, is that we are becoming globally connected. So war is just something that most of us don't want. And when you have a financial tool like Hex, where there isn't a centralized authority that can choose how much is being created to pay for the wars, things start changing really quickly.
Wow. Gold again. Thank you for offering that.
Yeah. I've got to bounce here, but I just want to say thanks to you guys for showing up and contributing. I love following you guys on the Hex Foodies Telegram, and I'll be back next week hopefully. So
Awesome. Good seeing you.
Chill it out.
Continue on. All right, thanks guys.
Okay, peace. So I got another idea to spread. Are you Hexicans staying in the same place or moving? Should we fix the problems in our own local area with our established connections? Would that be opportunistic? That's what I'm trying to do right now. I'm trying to use my existing connections, and right now I'm feeling them out. I was telling HexRayVision this earlier, like how I was asking him, how is it that you start this conversation with people? He was saying that he starts the conversation by letting people know that he's not working anymore. So typically people come to a conversation, and then they eventually ask each other, what's your occupation? And then he's able to say, well, I don't work anymore. I'm an official onboarder is what he says. And then it's like, you're going to let me do my job. I'm going to produce you.
You know what I've been using, and I love it, and it's true, is people ask me, what do you do? I'm like, my friends are millionaires.
Yes, you've said that before.
What I do. And that really engages people, and it's really true. And I love it. My friends love me so much more for like helping to change their financial situations. So that's amazing. Now for your question, I'm actually right now really challenged by that because I don't know the answer. I'm having a lot of difficulty wanting to stay in the US because of how it's handled the pandemic and stuff, and how for-profit it's been, and how many lives we've lost because of people's greed. It feels like a war on Americans and other Europeans. So basically, like the first world countries are like going to war with their citizens. So I'm struggling with that. Part of me really wants to like help solve things internally and like help make the food local and all that kind of stuff. And part of me wants to run away. Go to a country that is more environmentally friendly, more human friendly, and also crypto friendly. So I really am torn about whether I should stay or go for those reasons, because where I'm leaning is that I want to heal the planet everywhere. And it doesn't matter what artificial border there is. If there's an opportunity that I can do a lot of good, I want to go there. I look at Earth as my home, not just the United States. And part of that comes with a lot of realizations, what it means to be an American. And we have a lot less freedoms than most people realize. We're treated as prisoners, tax slaves, wherever we go in the world. The way citizens here are taxed is kind of unique. Other countries, you go to a different country, you pay taxes where you're visiting. You don't pay taxes back to your home country. And the US is one of the only countries that you have to pay taxes no matter where in the world you are. You are property. And when you start realizing how many lies we've been told and stuff, it's very 1984. Doublespeak is just insane here.
Doublespeak is crazy. Science. And it's like, yeah, what version?
The Church
where are
of
you going to
Science.
say?
Yeah, it's like, it's really outrageous. And so I don't know. Like, I really don't. I'm hoping to find the answer with you. And I'm really glad you brought that topic up, because the main thing that is keeping me around here is I have a lot of friends in the Austin area. There's a lot of cool people here. But if I had a group of friends who wanted to go somewhere else, like I'm leaning towards Costa Rica for a while. And I want to build a network around the world that people can travel through in between. And we're going to have the resources to do that. Like we can have a small airstrip on every property we buy. And we can really build a global decentralized network that can do a lot of really good in the world. So I'm in favor of that. I'm about being a global citizen, not so much having a home base here. But I do, at the same time, I do feel that like it would be so wonderful if we could change things from here. But I think that the system's going to have to let itself collapse. Like it's so out of control. I don't know how people can keep believing in it.
I was wondering, whenever I brought this up, I was wondering if I was bringing it up to the wrong person, because like, man, you're set where you are, like everything's going great besides the mold that we talked about just a while ago. But no, like you've got a can of worms that you were ready to open there. Wow. I was certain that you were thinking of just staying there. I had no idea that you were pondering the idea of going. And you speak of Central America as being this possible safe haven for expats, right? Which is something that's common, really. You know, like let's move down there where there's more rain, things grow like a jungle. The price of living is cheaper. Yeah, the initial price of the land, it might be that they ran it up on us because we're gringos, but hey, power to them.
Yeah, that's a tax I'm happy to pay, like to enter.
Have you thought about El Salvador?
I've looked at a handful of these places, and it's overwhelming, honestly. Like,
Yeah.
I would be very happy to make this a decision where I would actually turn over some of my like decisioning power for a majority. Like, look, if we have an awesome team of people who wants to go do something together, I'm pretty open to that. Like, every country has its pros and cons. I mean, there was a great Hex talk. I don't remember who it was. I think it was with Maddie Allen, and they're talking about what are the best countries to like live in, and one of them for crypto was Dubai. And I looked into that, and Dubai is awesome if you are into regeneration or sustainability, because you can't own land there but you don't have taxes. So it's super cool if you love city life. And it's an international hub, but we won't be able to own land and be able to grow our own food or do anything like that. So it's tough because a lot of the more resource-rich countries are economically poor and heavily exploited. And so going as a gringo, there is a level of danger there that I feel prejudice that's kind of been earned in some ways. But
yeah, we're yeah. I am half Brit, half Scot. So my Scot side like keeps me aware like a fox, like look knowing every little change that happens around me, or at least trying to. And then my Brit side, I believe that I just sort of like just go with the flow. And yeah, I need to think about that more and before I say this stuff on stream. But I do think that like our past generations are like almost like breeding programs, like where it is that your blood is from, kind of like cultivated in the last like thousand years, who a part of the way that you interact with this built environment. Somebody made a comment, and I don't know what exactly that is. So I wonder if this, I guess with their first name, they're definitely out in Africa or northeastern Africa, right?
I couldn't tell you.
And then,
glad you're watching.
Yeah, thank you. We got this comment about the powers that be. That was earlier whenever we were on that subject. I think I hit the subject.
Yeah, that's excellent. Like, I love controversial topics, and the thing is that I'll share is that my opinions have changed a lot. I used to be like a pro technocracy. So a lot of these views now that I strongly oppose, I was hugely in favor of. And I'm very happy sharing that because we are able to change our minds. And I think that we're wrong about a lot of our beliefs. And I'm likely wrong about a lot of my beliefs right now. So I want people to be comfortable to challenge them. Not in a way that's insulting, but just like a questioning way. Because part of me, like, I love the idea in community and having access to stuff. My definition of wealth is what you have access to, not what you own. And I love living that way. It's a lot more freeing, but I really don't like the way it's manifested in that around the world, like, we design stuff to break. So we have to keep buying new stuff instead of design. So that's one of the advantages of the rental model is if you, as the manufacturer and inventor of something, you have this long-term income stream for renting it out. Your incentive is to build a high quality product. But if you're just trying to get repeat sales, your incentive is to create garbage. So we have to understand like what is actually better for us and the planet. And renting models are superior for the resources and the quality of stuff we get, where you have a subscription to the different things you need. Alternatively, if you are a community and you own the means of production, and by the way, this is what I'm going to talk about is something I'm going to be creating, and I hope it excites people. But like the idea of having maker spaces where we have the means of production, so we have all the tools we need to make whatever we want. Because you're making it for yourself, your incentive is also to make a high quality product. And I think that that's the future that I want to help create, where we're all empowered to be able to use tools and create the things we want in our lives. I believe that humans have always been makers, and we've been kind of robbed of that creativity. And with our time abundance that we can have from being financially free, so to speak, is great to see people like Finbear, who is getting into woodworking. I love woodworking. Like, why not spend a couple of weeks on a chair that will last you decades? Like, that is something awesome to do. So I do see like that aspect being correct, that we don't necessarily need to own things, and to recognize that we don't own stuff anyway. We're just stewarding it or leasing it from the future generation. But what they mean, I think, when they say that is that, well, we're your overlords and we own everything and you have to rent it from us. And that's a very different thing to say, because that's not like egalitarian where everybody is like contributing to the commons and stewarding the planet. It's that a few people own everything and we're enslaved to them, and that we're supposed to work our entire lives to have access to the stuff that they think we need. So,
and the thought bubble is there as well. You know, they're going to keep your mind within a certain sector.
Yeah, like the keeping up with the Joneses and stuff. I had a crazy conversation yesterday with a friend when I started talking about, like, you know, like when I really became turned off to like transhumanism was when I realized that they were going to advertise that shit right into your head. Like you get like content on this stuff, like you're gonna have ads going by all the time. Like it's already so invasive with commercials and billboards and everything else. Like give them access to your mind. That is the most dystopian thing I can imagine, because most people won't be able to afford the ad-free version of that. And even if you have the ad-free version, you're still gonna have the government interjecting stuff, like what they do with our phone right now with these alerts. So imagine getting alerts in your head, you're sleeping, and it's like, oh, be aware of wild animals outside. They might bite you or whatever, like creating fear and just like random stuff all the time. Like we're in Texas. I know you get the same alerts I do. Texas is huge. Why are we getting statewide alerts?
I'm not. Yeah, I agree. Like whenever I was on the highway driving to Vegas, they would, I think it was like Utah, they would talk about things in a different state. I-35 going through Dallas, I think, does that sort of thing. I don't have any alerts. I haven't been getting the beep, beep on my cell phone. I don't know what you have to do.
But it was a hack to turn it off.
It was hell to turn it off.
It was a hack. I had to hack my phone to turn it off. Yeah.
Oh goodness. Wow.
So congrats not having that.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. Cause, so here in my hometown, in the downtown area, it never has been hit by a tornado. The land, the geography changes enough between us and the town north of us that a tornado is not going to come this way. But yet we have a tornado siren that goes off at noon every, I think it's Saturday, but it might be Wednesday. But whatever the case, once a week at noon, it goes off, and it's really annoying. And then my girlfriend and I were sitting on a park bench in our downtown area, and her mind just immediately went to like, wow, that's conditioning. And I was like, yeah, that's why I'm dating you.
Yeah.
So let's see. So this thing, 5 Acres and a Dream, the book that's being presented there, this was gifted to me through participation in one of Paul Wheaton's Kickstarters. And Paul Wheaton has done quite a few Kickstarters now. And his technique is to offer a bunch of digital items like PDFs that friends of his have created, you know, in the community of permaculture. And so they have an agreement with him, like, hey, you'll get a kickback if you ante up your goods. And so the idea is that, like, if somebody supports the Kickstarter at just like $1, they could get 50 different PDF amounts of information that somebody's like really put a lot of work into. And I've participated by anteing up wood-fired ovens or solar dehydrators, plans for such things, because that's my forte or whatever. But I started reading through this one that I got through it, and one of the things that this lady does is she, like, I couldn't read this whole thing, but I read all the captions that were below the images. And so 5 Acres in a Dream is what it's called. And she then tells you some things after they establish the homestead, the working mechanisms within. And one of the things that she does is she'll crack open her eggs, whisk them all together, grease up a muffin pan, and put the egg stuff into the muffin pan, and then put that into the freezer. And I'm assuming it's for the winter to pass the seasons that the eggs aren't being produced by the chickens. That's a pretty cool thing. I'm trying to find the image of where she was pouring them in, but this is pretty cool. Like, they talk about amounts of redesign after putting stuff down on paper and having an idea, and then continuing to live on the property, and then the design changes, and then so they add, they modify. They always have a floor plan, or this site plan hung on like the living room wall or the kitchen wall, in order for them to meet and talk about it. And it's constantly getting edits. It's really cool. You know, like exposing our Hex foodies minds to this sort of thing of, like, you know, you're not going to have all the answers. Just get out there and try.
Yeah, I think that's the most important lesson for permaculture is don't get into like indecision. Like, just get started. Start planning some stuff. Don't be afraid to do that, because a lot of times we are so intimidated by the environment that we never do anything. And then also in permaculture, you're told to, like, wash the land for a year, and that isn't it's not bad advice, but at the same time, like, planting trees is always a good thing to do, and they can be moved, they can be cut down, but the act of planting a tree is that catalyst, that start that you need for moving forward. And yeah, allowing it to change and be open to a fluid design is beautiful.
Yeah, I made this statement or something last stream of, like, you know, I can figure out what to do within that first year, but yeah, just get things going, start spreading seeds, see where things work. You can start telling things, you can start understanding subsoil by understanding what can grow on it. You can start digging holes. Just start, you know, checking your pH in places. This is the muffin pan stuff that I was talking about. And then she did turnips damp in sand. So to pass the winter, her idea was to put, or an idea that she got off of somebody else, this is a cooler, and she put sand inside of it, and it's a little bit damp, and you put the turnips inside of there, and it'll store them until you're actually ready to go to them. Put them into your meal.
And they actually turn pretty sweet when you store them like that.
I thought you had disappeared on us.
Yeah, I had like a bedtime story emergency. I had to take care of it.
Cool.
Yeah.
So here's something really interesting. she was talking about goat milk, and that if the goats ate poison ivy, then her and her husband had a little bit more immunity to poison ivy.
That makes sense.
And she said that this is confirmed by other people in the area, because this certain area had a lot of poison ivy, and I forgot what else. Maybe kudzu was talked about. Kudzu is something that went throughout the American South back in the day. It was actually advised that you cultivate kudzu, and then kudzu started taking over the vine layer and living up in the trees and starving out the trees as well as everything else. Kudzu was a complete disaster, said by the people of the South, but I don't know, like could we look at it as a resource? I guess because we don't live there, we don't really know.
Everything should be
a resource.
Like everything should be looked at as some kind of a resource. Like in ideal situations, even waste could be designed in a way that it could serve as a sort of integral part of some other mean of production. Like there's been a lot of thinking gone into it. Like, yeah, you could have like some, I don't know, shoes that when they wear down, the sole material or the sort of the cover of fabric might be ready for some kind of a easy recycling process or something.
I like what Finn was saying about, I mean, everything really should be viewed as a resource. And one of the big things that is creating a lot of challenges in the world is that property ownership, is that ownership doesn't come with responsibility of stewardship. So you end up having a lot of land that's not stewarded, and then
we have an interesting, unique way of dealing with that particular problem. So we in our legislation we have a thing called every man's right, which dictates that no matter how much land you own, it is everybody's right to walk in a forest. And it's everybody's right to pick berries wherever they wish and mushrooms wherever they want. They don't need landowners' permission to walk into a forest and pick all the blueberries and just walk off. Everybody's free to do it. What you can't do is you can't cut down living trees. You can't camp wherever you want. And well, basically you can't set fires like willy-nilly. And you can't go and camp on people's backyards just because of your right to walk past their lot, like at a distance. So but that's a way of dealing with the fact that you have like tons and tons of food stuff just rotting in the forest every year if everybody's guarding their plot of land and not letting people pick it. Just everything just would go to waste.
Do y'all have signs along the roadside that say, "Hey, camping spot here, camping spot there"?
Yeah, they're run as businesses. So they've got like kitchen areas and washing up, and you can wash your laundry and stuff. And then they have these really scenic places where they've like set up lots where people can park. But that's usually like some parks like to have people who stay there like forever for all they care, and they've set it up real nice. But that's a specialty crowd. I'm not much into it, but it's not like it's not like one of these dingy crack places. It's more like accordion music and pensioners and others staying up late and singing songs together. And like, yeah, I just get goosebumps from just thinking about it. Of the community.
If I finally come to Finland, I'm gonna.
Yeah, we're gonna go.
Yeah,
we're gonna go. Yeah, you should like if you want to come during the summer, we could go and see the wife carrying world championship that we have. There's some excellent wife carrying world
championship. Do you get more than one?
No, you get to carry like
one on each shoulder.
Yeah, no, you just I think the rules are that you can hold her like you wish, but she can't touch the ground, and there can't be any sort of belts or things like that. So you can't like strap her on, other than that she can of course latch on to you. So there's like really interesting techniques. It's like an obstacle course, like pretty much like a Green Beret type of thing, but with the misses. It's awesome. Like there's some good footage on YouTube. You should look it up. Yeah. We have all kinds of, we've got like mosquito swatting world championship as well. Rubber boot throwing, if that's your thing, you can see test your skills against like the best of the world and see how far you can throw a size 42 rubber boot, which is I think it's a size 10.5 or size 11 rubber boot if you're an American. And see how far you like. It's not a professional sport, but you can be an enthusiast. And actually, like, we could do it as a profession if we wanted to. we would I'm pretty sure in a few years we'd rank pretty highly on the Forbes 100 top earning pro athletes. There are these 3 rubber shoe guys that shut out from nobody knows where, but they're raking in like boku bucks. So like, I wonder who's the who's the sponsor for these guys. They sell rubber boots like nobody's business.
What?
Hey, Hex Dragon, have your eyes been on any of these camping spots where there's like a sign that says, camp spot here, camp spot there? Because I guess like my adventures driving to Las Vegas and then up through Utah, where there are tons of camping spots, and over to Montana, my whole summer adventure has gotten it to where like my eyes are now peeled for that sort of thing. Do you ever stop at these places where it's like limited camping spots? However, you could come there at any time, 24/7. There's a bathroom that it's not a septic situation. It's just, sanitary enough of a pit.
Yes, in Colorado, actually, that's when I first got introduced to it. It was crazy. Really, really beautiful camping. And we actually, my friend and I was with my friend Ash, and we would go into, I forget which town it was. We would go to Natural Grocers, and every day they had this educational thing, and they'd do a little raffle for like $100. It'd be like me, him, and like 1 or 2 other people. So we almost always won. So we were getting like free food, like really quality food, and just taking it to our camp spot and sharing it with the other people there. It was great. I'm like, we could live that way. It was really fun. So yeah, the U.S. has a lot of camping opportunities. I would love to see more of what you were talking about. Like, I know Germany also has it where you can go on any land, because the property ownership has been really detrimental to this country. But we also have so many things that we're doing right here, and I love the aspect of camping like that too. It's really fun.
So this book, 5 Acres and a Dream, at one point she talks about instead of electrical kitchen tools, she talks about hand done kitchen tools, and how
cranked,
yeah, and how much easier they are to clean. You know, you don't have the cord. You don't have to worry about electricity. You don't have to worry about where the holes are in the plastic, where the water could come through if you throw this thing into the sink. You know,
I don't know. Just the stuff that I used when I was a kid. There were all these like East German or like made in Czech Republic or Czechoslovakia or something. It was like this flimsy thing made by lazy people. I suppose like if you had like a big girthy thing that has like 3 gears where you can go like half of the speed of sound when you go like this, that would be cool. But I in particular I like my dough mixer because I've made a lot of pizzas and I really don't like kneading the dough.
what do you have, a KitchenAid?
Well, it's like a similar machine, but I think it was made by Brown or some other German fella.
Cool.
Yeah, it's a pretty small thing. I may have to upgrade, get one of those big red things.
The last idea.
Get on YouTube. I'm sorry. I'm just
Go ahead.
I'm glazing out because I see like imagine like rubber boots in hex colors.
Yeah,
Like,
I already thought of it.
Yeah, size 11 or something. I can see like that's like a web shop thing. Like we could have like the rubber boot, like we could make a thing of it. Like we could take over the entire rubber boot like scene. Just come in with our own flair.
We could just sponsor somebody. You know, put a big Hex logo on them.
We could sponsor like the top 5 globally.
I love the idea of us actually like having a
like
bunch.
We should have like one from one from every continent, and we could have like a week of South America week, and then North America week, and everybody who wants to take part has to do his thing during that week. So
I think we have a Hex World Tour where we go and do all these like kind of very niche things in different places. We'll do throwing in one place. We'll do like the log toss in Scotland, the white carry somewhere else. And it'll just like we'll like come as like half the crowd or more. And
yeah.
Total novices.
Yeah. There's a lot of us all over. We could we could easily take over some small hobby like that.
It would be so fun to try it, like a world tour of like all these bizarre things, and we just all do it together. And I'm sure some of us will be like half decent at some of the things, and it'll be hysterical for the rest.
Yeah.
Well, the powers that be, they go after our children, right? So maybe we could go after our own children, and we could create some sort of a game that then becomes common play. And then
wherever we go,
that
better than we found it. That's all I would say. It's like wherever we go, let's leave it better than we found it. And everybody
goes.
Yeah, that's always that's a good standard to live by.
So the last idea I have for this live stream is a random question. What is the point of mentors, and how do you go about obtaining one or a few? Right after I wrote this little jot down, I must have put my thoughts into the ether because I had somebody who is my mentor above me call me, and I had somebody who I was a mentor to call me. You know, so I had my good reminder of how important mentors are. Do you guys have mentors?
Yeah, I have a friend who I talk to daily, and he has a lot of good ideas about like how to take care of himself, and we talk a lot about what it is to be like a good man in the sort of the times that we're living in.
Is he in your same trade? Different trade?
He's a Hexican as well.
But
his trade doesn't matter.
I'll let that
Yeah,
go.
his trade is irrelevant in the story.
Yeah.
But he's the kind of a guy that I look up to him in many ways, and of course I've followed Richard's work, but I don't know like how much I could say that he's a mentor to me. Like I think that he's extremely smart, but yeah, maybe
We've touched
like
on this before.
there's a lot that he knows about, but I've not needed mentoring in those fields. So I can appreciate him being highly intelligent, but like being a mentor is not necessary for achieving the appreciation for his personal kind of brilliance. And he might turn up to be a perfect mentor in the future when I see if he's actually taught me something, which I think is like a well, I'm sure there's plenty of life lessons that I've learned in the past couple of years. So in that sense, I would probably call him a mentor.
So how does
Pretty
this
self-contradicting, don't you think? It was, yeah.
How does the saying go? Each one teach one. What is it?
Yeah,
So
something like that.
So do you have somebody below you?
No, I have friends that I talk to, but I don't.
Okay. They probably look up to you.
Where everybody's sort of on the. I try to keep the lift sort of at the same level whenever I communicate with anybody. And, and this sort of above or below type of thinking.
Yeah.
It comes through in everything. So that kind of thinking sort of leaks through your persona. So if you think that somebody is sort of beneath you in any sense when you communicate with them, they sense it. Which is sometimes if you talk to like somebody who's if I talk to my kids' classmates, for instance, I speak to them like I speak to my friends, and they get almost shook up at first because I don't sort of talk down to them at all. I talk to them almost like I would talk to a peer, but of course, as you do to a child. So like I'm not rude or anything like that. But yeah, many kids are baffled by it. But then they sort of trust me because they see that I'm not trying to influence them. I'm not trying to be better than them, or I don't think that they're sort of lesser than me, and it doesn't come off in the way I talk to them. And that's how I like to talk to anybody.
Yeah, here in Texas, we're really nice. We assume that people are friends first, and so we're kind of like we kind of surprise people every once in a while. They're like, "You're just talking to me out of nowhere," and I just felt like that that had some sort of a tie.
Don't you like all you Texans also pack heat?
Hate?
So you
heat
like a gun.
Oh,
so you can
I got mine.
you can afford to be nice to everybody because you know that if it goes ugly, you just duck and spray the area.
Spray
I don't
the
know.
area.
Yeah, I don't know how it works.
with our Uzis.
Yeah. Lock and load and spray the area.
How about you, Hex Dragon? You got mentors over there?
I've had mentors in the past, and
did you pay them?
No.
Okay.
I have a bowling instructor I've paid.
Where I'm at right now is very similar to Finn, and it's a reminder to be humble and to realize I can learn from everybody. And that has been a big part of like personal development, is to recognize that I can learn something from anyone. So to be really open to that. Some people I will mention who were very influential for me was like Jacques Fresco of the Venus Project. And then Paulo Soleri of Arca Santi, and the inventor of arcology. And then in terms of like crypto and stuff, I would say Richard Hart. But I just feel that there's so much we can learn from so many people, and being open to that is a really good way for developing, and I think in discovering a lot more about yourself, which is really challenging. It really is, but yeah, I don't know. I just think that we all have so much to learn from each other, and and then that level of respect, especially with children. Like my grandparents were probably my best mentors, because they treated me like an adult,
Okay.
and that I learned more from them than anybody else in my life, because I was allowed to ask questions. I was allowed to use tools. I was allowed to try things, even though I was little. They showed me no age discrimination, and that was so powerful for me, just being a little person. And that's something that I want to be able to pass on. So I mentor freely. I do charge occasionally. With stuff I don't really want to deal with, like relationship advice for friends. But yeah,
I was just posing for the camera. Sorry.
What happened?
yeah, I don't have anything more on that.
So I wanted to say that I once had a manager that told me to keep my mind open to the things that were being told to me and everything. And even the homeless guy down the street could teach me something. But yet this guy wasn't listening to the feedback his own employee was giving him. It was really hilarious. And it told me I needed to change a job.
Yeah, bad bosses are sometimes like
Bad.
you learn a lot about what you understand, like how much are you gonna take the next time that you come across a person like that, and like once you go through enough sort of bad bosses or bad experiences, you grow this intolerance to bullshit, and life just gets so much easier.
But like those are lessons in themselves that we can learn, because like I've realized that, and I obviously I still I talk a lot. And
Yeah, of course. Yeah, I don't mean like yeah, talking is good. But like in like a business setting, like you don't want to be working with a person who just can't be trusted, but always has a good excuse for why they failed to deliver or whatever stuff like that.
Well, those are the kind of lessons that we have to look at, because we can learn from those things too. Like on the stream, for example, like to not dominate the conversations and to make sure each person's being listened to and has other really important things to share. It's like a good ego check. So I think like that's one of the things that I think you both are hitting on, is that sometimes people who are in managerial positions or mentor positions end up thinking like they're know-it-alls and they don't need to listen to other people because they're the mentor. And once you lose sight of that, I think that's like a good time to step back and then realize, oh, I need to step back into the student position, the learning position, because I'm letting my ego get ahead of me, which means I'm shutting down to new information.
Yeah, that's well said.
So sometimes, or I've been trying to lay out this live stream to where like we'll have a show and tell time period. I think we can just skip over that this time. And then a new idea that I had was a don't go there topic. Like, hey, don't bother, you know, I don't know, like looking into this or that, but just like, don't make this mistake. Hey, Hexicans, I know this is a bad mistake. So for future live streams, keep that in mind whenever it is that you're making notes for the next live stream. My mind is always geared towards Tuesdays noon Central. This live stream, like I
was thinking about the stream the whole day as I was working. It was like really fun. But I didn't make any notes. I'm really impressed with like your sort of diligence, like
Hey,
the notebook thing, like all that stuff. Me, I just leave it on idle and I just sort of wonder what comes up. That's sort of my method. And I try to get things started because I've noticed that when I get things started, eventually like some of them go into fruition and like other things, it might not be that important what you finish with. Like I like drawing a lot because of the tattoo stuff I used to do.
oh yeah.
So
Have you ever made?
I start a lot of drawings. Like I want to be better in drawing portraits, for instance. So I start a lot of head sketches. I don't even plan to finish them. I just do like a sketch in 2 minutes or something and try to get like a couple of things correct.
You hit on one thing I want to share because it's a really, I think, important technique for people to understand, which is the idea of procrastination. So there are 3 ways in which you can do something. So this is a study based on students in school and which students made the best quality papers. The student who started on day 1 and then didn't do anything for most of the period and then finished at the very end, like they procrastinated to the end. The student who just procrastinated and did all at the end, or the student who did it, their homework and got it done right away. So of those 3, which would you think had the highest quality project or papers if you were just guessing?
Absolute last minute.
So last minute.
I don't know. Last minute works for me.
I think the
So-
person
like
who
my-
did the medium job did it immediately when it was fresh on their brain, and then the person who did it during the task assigned time period after that then thought about it too much, got confused, whatever, and then the person who procrastinated at the very end, it was that something clicked in their head, they organized their thoughts, they put it together nicely. And they had plenty of time to think about it. Whenever I don't want to steal your limelight. Whenever I was in college, I showed up at what was like a weed out history of architecture class, to where it was like, if you thought that you were going to have Greek life and go to architecture school, this guy was here to tell you absolutely not, that was not going to happen. So, oh gosh. Oh gosh. I went off too far.
Oh, too far.
I just went off.
Well, okay.
Go on. So what he said was the best thing that you can do right before a test is you can go do something athletic, because you just change your mindset. But right before you're going to take a test that means a lot, instead of just continuing to try to cram that information in just to learn it that little time period and then regurgitate it onto the test. Okay, sorry to steal your light. Go ahead, Hextra.
No, your answers are great. Also, your reasoning was pretty correct. And so the answer probably won't be surprising, but it's actually when you start right away. So you read the assignment, you start right away, and then you wait until the end. And the reasoning is what you were saying, though, which is that your subconscious is doing all the work for you. You're not thinking about it. So now when you go to last minute and write it all down, you already have the entire thing written in your head and all that time to figure out. So you really spent the most time, but it was all in your subconscious that was doing it.
I like to keep that sucker working for me.
So that's
like,
what, So my advice for everyone,
it's time-weighted value, right?
Whatever you're going on, just get started and then take a long break from it. Because like you're drawing.
I have another good method if like you wanna build something, for instance, like a piece of furniture. As it happens, it's something that has been a lot on my mind recently. One good effective way to get things done is to have something ready immediately and then start improving. And know that the first version is gonna, like, you can make it out of cardboard because you know it's gonna, like, everything is gonna change, but you have something ready, so you have like a reference points where you can start to change things out of, because you have something that is already, and then you get a better idea on what different work steps you need, how the changes in the design would affect the work steps, because if you can eliminate having to touch the thing, you bring down the cost tremendously.
The quality of feedback, the the amount of appreciation you have for yourself and your work as you have that one finished pegged placement of what you can do, and I can do better. But every time you look at it, you observe like wow, this thing worked out nicely. And other people who are observing it, other than you, they don't know the flaws of it, so they give you praise for it, and you're thinking, well, I could do this better, I could do that better, whatever. But yeah, the satisfaction that you have looking back on your work, it's like the Kurt Cobain Nirvana song where the guy's taking pride in mopping the floor and looking back on it, he's like, yeah, I did a good job. I don't know how that came out.
Hey, can I did actually do a chair to my mate. I took a pretty sweet picture. Can you show it if I'll run over to my phone and send it in the foodies chat, if you can share it with them?
Yeah, I'll do that. I've had a silly amount of issues or whatever, making sure that I learn how to not share everything on my computer when I share the screen. Hex Dragon, do you have a topic that you'd like to go over? Because we are getting close to 2 hours.
I feel really good about today. I was really nice just reconnecting. I almost missed this one too.
Because you missed last week. We missed you last week.
Yeah, I was planning on being there. I was going to show off my COVID. But...
Was that the COVID? Okay, I didn't put 2 and 2 together. Now I get it. You were COVIDed.
But I felt like pretty good. So I was going to just be like, I'm alive, barely. No, the one thing I guess I would love to add though is, like, I love rapid prototyping. I use 3D printers regularly, and it's just getting those iterations. It's such a more fun way to work, and you learn so much instead of getting like so stuck on perfection for doing it right the first time. So I think that's like just a big life lesson, is don't be afraid of your first version of something, whether it's like talking about hex or building something or trying something. Like, you're not going to be good at anything your first time usually, and probably not your first 10 times. So just knock them out. Do it.
I'm going to remove us and then put us back on.
Okay.
So if anybody needs to pause and take a piss, go for it. Finbar, it did not work. I don't know how to get the telegram. So what I'm looking at is a wooden bench that's probably 2.5 inches or 2 inches thick. There seems to be in the shape of a rectangle, and then there are diagonal legs coming out, 4 legs, and they're faceted. And the tip that touches the ground is smaller than the joiner piece that pierces through the bench. So there's a flat bench that's like 2-something inches thick. And
So wait, you're
what
not able to
Finbar,
show the image?
I'm not able to show the image, but it's in our Telegram chat.
Huh. Okay.
So there's just something about like whenever I'm trying to, so I can share my whole screen, but I don't want to do that. Sorry. And then I can share only like the tabs in Chrome. So is there, let's see, is there a place on the web where this is, Finbar?
Nah, no, it's just on my phone. I think it's in. Well, I send it into the Hex Foodies chat, so you can see it from there.
Yeah, we can all see it. However, it's like whenever I share my screen, I don't want to share everything.
Yeah, I know.
And it's not allowing me to just select share Telegram.
Just
Instead,
slide
it's like,
some. Yeah, that's okay. But that's a good reason for anybody to join the chat. There's some cock pictures in there as well. Chickens also, like all your former dinosaur animals. Not, I said cock. I said I didn't mean it like that, like in the dirty way. I meant it like in the permaculture way. You want to see my cock pic? Here's 5 of my favorite roosters. Bloop, 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 bloop.
so you want to talk about it now?
Oh yeah. I just took the chair for a ride.
You see my screen, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it's not brilliant, but it will do for now. Yeah. So I took the chair out for a ride because it was a nice day out, and I just plopped it out there on the beach. It's like this wave break thing that they have over there, and it turned out pretty cool.
So you gifted this?
I know he has to pay like through the nose for it, man. It's handmade. Yeah, it's about 40 millimeters thick, so that would make it like a couple of inches, maybe even a bit more. And I sort of went a bit all out with the pictures and stuff, but because it's so like bare bones and sort of the design is so basic that I sort of figured I might as well take some nice pictures out of it while I still have it. But it's very sort of form follows function. So as a Finn, I get like nice fins out of it. There's nothing extra in there. And I particularly like how the legs came through the seat, and it's flawless. Even the shims that I made for the legs, they came out perfect. Like the grain direction is like it's so good. He's never gonna know how much he should appreciate it. He's just gonna kick it about like you should, because it's a bench anyways.
Is it made to be outside? It's not, is it?
No, it's
what wood?
It's gonna go into his like dressing room where he
Oh,
goes
how cool.
into the sauna. So he's probably just gonna keep his clothes on it and like a stack of towels or something.
What kind of wood is that?
That's birch.
Yeah, I thought so.
Yeah, we have plenty of it. Actually, most of it goes into plywood and then it's sold to you guys. So we don't even get any of the good birch. Like it's really
It's just
difficult to
ground
get,
up and put in our plywood.
no, not ground up. They may make
Right,
like
they
you've
slice
probably
it.
heard of Baltic birch plywood. The Baltic means that it comes from over here,
Okay.
or it can come from Latvia or Lithuania. They got huge birches over there, but we have like big factories that make just plywood out of birch. It's like top of the line. Very few branches, and it's like beautiful blonde. It doesn't yellow in the sun, and it's like really good stuff.
So tell me what's happening whenever there's that that dark spot on the top where the peg comes through and then you've sanded it off. Have you capped that off with a different type of wood and a different
No,
grain, or is that the same as the
it's
foot?
the same. Yeah, it's the same type of wood, but because the grain direction is different, it reflects light at a different angle, so it looks a lot darker.
Cool.
Or in the picture, it looks like red. But yeah, I thought about using like walnut or something, but because it's so much like the hardness is so different that the wedge would eventually sort of eat its way out, because it would be so much harder than the surrounding birch that during the so we have quite a big cycle in humidity over here. Like during like winter, summer, there's a big difference, and that difference would eventually cause the wedge to come off, or the leg to sort of pry loose, and we're not having that. I wanted to make a chair that lasts for a long time. So if he doesn't like really bring a hammer to it, it should last him like his lifetime, which is perfect. I like to make stuff that lasts for a long time.
Awesome.
That's how I like to make my steaks as well.
So, Dragon, you shared this certain YouTuber's videos with us before, and I happened to find another video of his, and I love the way he draws out this explanation of how neighborhoods could be using passive solar, adding the solar panels on the south side, and then
I followed him as well.
Yeah?
It's really sort of it's
Andrew
like
Millison.
it's like old school watching a teacher draw something on a blackboard, but because he does it on the glass and you get to see the guy while he's doing it's really,
It is so cool.
yeah, it just sucks you in. I
And so-
like the and they do the 2x when he's drawing a lot, and you get to see him go like, yeah, it's almost like when I was in school. Almost.
And so
Yeah.
this is the same guy who had the capability. See, I like it because he's thinking of like, how am I going to present these ideas to people? And so he simplifies the visual technique or something. And so the thing that we had seen before is where he's arranging things in a sandbox, and then there's a projector above that is able to read the layers on the sandbox and change the color that it projects onto it based on an understanding of topography. And then he's able to hit a button or something and say, now I want to make rain fall on this landscape. And then all of a sudden, like this blue water comes, and then the blue water equals out on the landscape the way that you would have like swales interacting. I just think it's glorious. This explanation as well. Oh, my alarm's going off because I've got a meeting I have to go to because I'm still doing architecture consulting.
You're 2 hours into it already.
The local.
Just
okay,
a quick. I said to the missus, I just be like I knew you
Oh,
guys went
it's just
on for
quick, but we just
hours.
keep
Like
going.
we went on for a
Oh.
long time after I left last week. I was
Yeah, time flies. Time
Yeah.
absolutely flies.
Yeah,
And then
yeah, it
I
does.
started doing the stuff by myself, and I was just like, no, I need to stop this. But make sure you hydrate, people. Make sure you hydrate. So I guess I don't have anything else to say. You want to wrap it up, Dragon? Yeah.
Yeah. Well, real quick, I highly recommend checking out Andrew Millison's channel. One of my favorite series is IndiasWaterRevolution.
Oh, I've seen.
yeah.
Wonderful episodes. Like all three of them. There's 3 of them. Yeah.
I've got it on my to-dos.
I think there's 7.
Already. I've only seen. I'm gonna have to go and see. YouTube algos are really dropping the ball. Like all I get is I get like because of Hex Asians and their dignity shouts and stuff. I get ads for adult diapers.
Oh, wow.
I also get ads for Jaguars and Aston Martins, which is nice. They've picked up their game. I don't know. Somebody's been listening to my phone calls or something.
You need to feed Google more information about yourself.
Yeah, I've just reported all ads to be what's the word? Insulting to me. I find them offensive, like everything. So the algorithm was so lost that for like I think months the only ads I got were from this religious school close to our house. Was the only thing that would get through, and I couldn't find it in myself to mark them as. Because I knew that they were pretty close, so I was like, "Fine, I'll just skip through the ad. I won't mark this as insulting or something." Yeah, but yeah, every advert is an insult in one way or another. I've been having this dream that in the future I'm gonna buy up a lot of ad space at once and just bombard everything with such a fucking meme gallery that it will blow everybody's minds. We're gonna just have a week of memes made by me. Just to go like me. Just like have really weird memes everywhere. Think how cool that would be to like take up all the ad space and not advertise anything. Just give you a week to think for yourself. How cool would that be?
That'd be really cool, but you can't make it over their head.
Ad space. No, you could like easily. Like anything you do, if you think about it for more than 5 minutes, it goes above your average Joe bag of donuts head.
Yeah, 5 minutes.
People, like if you watch TV for 5 minutes, like I get like these convulsions in my stomach because it's so revolting. Like how can people watch that crap?
It's constantly drawing conclusions that you're already on a certain island stuck and needing help.
Watch people at their job. Like if he's a fisherman. Oh, look, it's dangerous. Look at that policeman. Oh, it's dangerous. Like this policeman, we got 5 different cities of the policemen in there doing the same job. Like everybody's like, you're a celebrity dog walker. Oh my God, get me out of here.
Yeah. We don't care what you think.
Yeah. I don't, yeah.
So
your opinions don't matter.
Something I want to do with you, Finbear, is I want to design some temporary tattoos. I think it would be fun.
Oh, sweet!
Yeah.
Yes. Let's.
Okay, cool.
Like we could have like I could see like
some
big
hex ones.
yeah, no
And then
regrets, like misspell it.
get some
We
of
could do like the
I
meme
love
tattoo.
that.
Yeah, I heard a great joke. Somebody said that.
Get-
Yeah, my niece took a tattoo, like no regrets, and when she was lasering it off, she didn't find it funny at all.
we could have the Hex Asians tell us what to put on there, and then we don't even know how to read it.
Oh yeah, oh yeah, oh yeah. They could have it something really rude in Chinese. Oh yeah,
It's
or we
all
could have
temporary.
yeah. Oh, do you know what would be cool? We could have like a picture of Dheeraj, the golden mic guy. We could
Oh
have
yeah.
him with the golden mic and with the sun rays behind him and
Oh my
something like,
gosh.
oh yeah, it's all coming back to me, man. This is gonna cost you dearly.
But we got to figure out like what are the price points, and then what also is the shipping capability, because I would love to just be able to pop it in an envelope and it not be like, you know, expensive shipping.
Yeah. You could probably, if it was bigger, you could probably find a way where you could like roll it up pretty tightly, so you could probably send it in a tube like pretty cheap as well.
You might just cut it. I mean, it's a temporary tattoo. Just cut it in half.
Yeah, fine. You'll have a seam there. It's still gonna be awesome. Oh man, we're gonna have to. We're gonna have to do something. So you got you got some kind of a connection for doing like a contemporary.
When we went to Vegas, I brought along my temporary tattoos that were about the size of this, that were just black Hex logos, and you might see them here and there in social media. But yeah, since then, like that was a really good printer and deliverer. So I'm interested in doing more business with them. But I just think it would be fun to offer that sort of thing, because us Hexicans are recognizing like, we could what have part of art that we can offer other Hexicans.
We could have and I've been working. I've got some ideas for like wood related stuff that I could do. That would.
I was trying to
a
think
hexagon is pretty easy to incorporate into any kind of design.
I was trying to think for you, because I saw your images of your woodwork in the Telegram group. So we are Hex Foodies and Telegram group. Come join us. Telegram's an app, and Hex Foodies on YouTube and Hex Foodies on Facebook. Hex Dragon, you got anything else to say before we cut this thing off?
No, it was really great connecting with y'all, and enjoyed this. We'll see y'all next week.
Okay.
I'm gonna try to make it next week. We don't have the thing. I had to take the kids this week, so it's gonna be easier. I'll be right on time, so you don't have to start with the monologue. Unless you want to, then which is fine. I can join in later, whichever way you want to go.
Yeah, I'm not worried about it right now. As you can see, I just got my background set up, or our background set up, to where, you know, like submit your value to the contract, go.hex.com. Pretty happy with that, you know, being greeny, and we're searching for land, we're searching for new horizons. So I will see y'all in Telegram, and I will see y'all next week. Thank you so much for being here with me.
Thank you, sirs. Have a good one.
Bye, guys.
Later.
Later.
Bye.